segment of Baker Forward. I'm Baker Police Chief Mike Snapper Knaps, and have some very special guests going to be on the show today. We've got Captain Michael Shropshire with us today. We've got Captain Darryl Rainwater with us today, and Assistant Chief Randall Dunaway. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our good friends at Billy Ann Flores for providing the beautiful arrangement that's set on the table today. We appreciate all our businesses in Baker, and especially this week, Billy Ann's for providing the flowers. Today we're going to be talking about how the departments function within the Baker Police Department, and I have a special guest with me today, Captain Michael Shropshire, who is the commander of the Uniform Patrol Division. And Captain, I would like for you to just share with our people today how you came about getting to the Baker Police Department. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got here.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Captain Michael Shropshire. I'm originally from Clinton, Louisiana. I started my law enforcement career at Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola, and at that point I worked at Clinton Police Department, part-time police officer. And I eventually came to Baker Police Department as a reserve officer, and I was hired full-time in 1998, and I'm currently a Uniform Patrol Commander of Baker Police Department. At that point today, I'm overseeing Uniform Patrol, oversee the daily operations of the uniform officers that patrol the city of Baker and protect our citizens.
And you also have communications. You oversee the communications divisions also that receives our enhanced 911 calls. Tell us a little bit, Captain, about how your division goes about from where they start their day to how a normal day would go for a uniform patrol officer in the city of Baker.
Yes, sir. The normal day starts with the uniform patrol officers coming in to roll call, where they receive pertinent information from the ongoing shift as it relates to any emergency calls or calls for service that have taken place during that tour of duty. At that point, once they start their tour of duty, any calls for service will come into our enhanced 911 operations center, where the dispatchers will take that call for service or however they can help the citizens of Baker. And at that point, they would dispatch officers out to calls for service, where they would go out and address the complaint or concern that any citizen would have throughout the day.
Good deal. And I had told them before how we have the city broke up into sectors, and how our officers would be out doing their general patrol and checking businesses and neighborhoods and assisting the public in any way we can. And during that tour also, they will be out checking the schools and making sure everything's safe there for the kids that are in school. It's a really, really important section of the police department, because these are the guys and gals that you have contact with first before anybody. And Captain Shropshire has, tell us about how the divisions are set up, how many shifts we have and the people on those shifts.
Yes, sir. There are 4 shifts there are 4 shifts with 6 officers per shift. There are 4 uniform patrol officers and 2 dispatchers, who are the call takers. The call takers will take the calls. We have a shift supervisor, who's a lieutenant, and a shift sergeant, and we also have 2 patrolmen. And once they go out on their tour of duty, they are set up in sectors where they patrol a certain part of the city and answer calls for service in that area. They patrol that area, they patrol the businesses, and also handling the calls for service.
Good deal. And Captain, we've just been blessed to have you complete a really major program. It's a big step for the Baker Police Department. We've sent you to be certified in polygraphy as a polygraph examiner, a 10-week school. Why don't you give us a little information on that and how we plan to use that for when we are checking employees and doing backgrounds and then following it up with the polygraph, how that's going to assist us to select better candidates to be police officers. Yes,
sir. I've just returned from 10 weeks of polygraphy school, where I earned 400 hours of credit in that field of training. The polygraphy with the city of Baker polygraph will be used for pre-employment, and also it will be used to help CID in their investigations to quickly determine whether a witness is being truthful or a suspect is being truthful in the matter, and it would help them in their investigations and learn more evidence and gather more information for CID, and also to help the pre-employments to make sure we have the best officers that we could have here in the city of Baker, to weed out the ones that may cause problems or some concerns for our citizens and our department.
Yeah, integrity is very important, and that's one of the reasons that we're real interested in keeping that going. And just for the people, the main purpose of polygraph when we talk to people outside of pre-employment is to protect the innocent mostly. That's one of the biggest factors in there through your training. And we just want to let you know that Captain Shropshire and myself, that our Uniform Patrol Division is out there to serve and to help you daily. If you see a police officer coming down the street and you have a question, flag them down. They're your friends. They're there to help you. If your children have an issue, flag them down. Let them know. If you're elderly and you need help, you just need some help moving a couch in your house or something, don't be afraid to call this police department. Our Uniform Patrol Division is here to help, to serve, and assist every citizen in this city to the best of our capabilities. And we're extremely proud to have great leadership in our Uniform Patrol Division. And Michael, you know, I know that you've been with us a long time. I remember when we sent for you from Angola and you came. It was great having you then. It's been fun for me to get to work with you your whole career here, and I really look forward to that continuing for a very long time. And I just want to thank you again for being on the show with us today, and just give me a little closing statement, if you would, about what you'd like to see out of your division.
Well, thank you, Chief. It's been a pleasure working for Baker Police Department and to serve the community. At my division, I would like to see where the officers will help the community, and we're not there just writing tickets. All that's enforcement, but I enjoyed working with the Baker Police Department. If the officers can help, or if you need to contact me personally, you can contact me at the Baker Police Department. Captain Michael Shropshire, I'm over the Uniform Patrol.
Good. In our next segment, we're going to be visiting with Captain Darryl Rainwater of the Criminal Investigations Division of the Baker Police Department, and he's going to be sharing what happens once a major call gets past Uniform Patrol and has to be followed up in a more intense manner. Thank you, and stay tuned.
"2012 is an exciting year in broadcasting. WLFT has been bringing you the best in religious and family programming for over 10 years. Your new digital television allows you to do a lot more, including gaming, internet, and there's over 20 free TV stations you can now pick up over the air. Soon there'll be over 30 channels here in Baton Rouge, so mark the first of each calendar month to rescan your TV. Lots of free entertainment. Rescan Baton Rouge.
Program. We're moving now to the Criminal Investigations Division. I have a special guest with me today, Captain Darryl Rainwater, who's been with our department for several years. Darryl, give us a little information about yourself and how you came about to get involved being a police officer with the Baker Police Department.
Thank you, Chief, for inviting me over to your show. It's a pleasure to be here and to get to talk to the citizens of the community with you. I was born and raised in Baker. I've been here all my life. I went to Baker High School, graduated from Baker High School, attended Southeastern University. Always had it in my heart to want to give back to the community and become a police officer. And I was fortunate enough to run into some good friends like yourself who was able to help me realize a dream of becoming a police officer.
I remember when you were in the reserves and what we went through to get you on full time. It's a long-standing deal with the police officers. You were in that top 3 for a little while.
Yes, sir. I was in the top 3 for a while.
You made it to number 1 and got there, and we were happy to have you here. Darryl, tell us a little bit about what goes on in criminal investigations, how a day would go. Tell us a little bit about your staff you have back there and how your assignments come in and go out.
Thank you, Chief. Our assignments work hand in hand along with Uniform Patrol. We have a very good working relationship with the guys that are in Uniform Patrol. They keep us up to date on burglaries or any kind of major crime that we may have inside the city. At that time, we're notified of when there's a major crime, whether it's a burglary, a homicide, or any major crime we may have. At that time, it's assigned to an investigator. We have 3 investigators in criminal investigations. At that time, the criminal investigator will pick up the case. He'll work along with the uniform patrol and get the information that he needs. Usually we start out by talking to the victims, and we also process the crime scenes and go along with submitting stuff to the Louisiana Police Crime Lab. And we try to work hand in hand with the guys in uniform patrol. That makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah, it's really important because as we receive information from Uniform Patrol and the CID gets that information, you as the citizens are very pertinent into how we take care of these things, because Captain Rainwater's division is only as good as the information that they receive from you. So you need to make sure that if you're a victim of a burglary, for example, that you take extreme amount of time to take your time and go through everything and make a really good list of the things that we're taking. But what you need to do is be proactive and already have all of that stuff written down. Have the serial numbers for your electronics written down. Have all of these things done, so when Captain Rainwater gets that information, it makes it a little easier for him to follow it up. Captain, you also are responsible for the overseeing the narcotics division, the Delta Task Force we belong to, and you handle the evidence that comes in and gets it to the crime lab. Will you tell us a little bit about those facets that you are in charge of also?
Yes, sir. We're fortunate to have a working relationship with the area law enforcement communities, EBR, SO, the Sheriff's Office, Zachary Police Department. We also work with Point Capee Sheriff's Office and West Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office. We're part of a Delta Narcotics Task Force, and we go to the different parishes and we assist each other in operations to combat the narcotics problems in those areas. And we've worked together and had great success in eliminating narcotics in the area. We have a very aggressive young division, and they stay very proactive in trying to work with the community and handle the crime problem that we have, which we're fortunate that's very low. The citizens of the community have been very good to the Baker Police Department. They are willing to cooperate with us, and you have a lot to do with that in working to make sure that we have a very good working relationship with the citizens of the community.
Yeah, that trustworthiness is very important, and it's the citizens that make all this possible. Our 1.7 crime rating is mostly due to the fact that our citizens are brave enough to step forward and give us the information. Today we have no unsolved major crimes right now that we're fooling with from our time, and we're very pleased about what's going on. We just had, give us an example of how things go. We cleared a major burglary this week, and we also had a major drug bust with Baker Police Department Delta Task Force. Give us a little rundown on how that went.
We had several burglaries that our investigators were investigating, and we was lucky enough to get some tips from the community, and it enabled us to go and locate some items, and upon further investigation we was able to solve the crime, and we ended up solving probably 4 or 5 burglaries off of one little tip that the public gave us. And we looked forward to hearing from the community, and that's why we try to have the relationship with the community we have, because it's very important to us to be able to solve these crimes, is to get information from the community. It's a vital part of our daily duties, is to talk to the citizens of Baker, which enables us to help them. As far as the narcotics investigation, it was one that we had been working on for a while, and we was lucky enough to make an arrest, and we seized a large amount of some and took a large amount of narcotics off the streets.
Yeah, the important thing that I want everybody to know, this was several months of an investigation. It seems like it's real easy to just walk to the corner and pick up a guy selling drugs, but there's a lot more to it than that. So we need your continued help, and your continued commitment to continue to bring us the information you have so we can move forward and make an arrest. It's just pertinent to the department and to the community that you stay involved. And we won't tolerate any drugs in the city of Baker. If it's up to us, we're going to take everybody from the nickel and dimer right on up to the level that we put somebody in jail for this week with over $30,000 cash and several hundred pills. So with our criminal investigations division, it's a very special division that's well utilized. And Captain, again, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to come share with the community today. Your department is another very valuable source to the community.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate being here.
All right, in our next segment, we're going to be bringing in Assistant Chief Randall Dunaway. We're going to be talking about technology and a lot of other things. Make sure you stick around and come back with us.
Promoting your business in these competitive times can be tough. You need to use everything possible to stand out in the crowd. Your vehicle is an asset most companies overlook when advertising. Now you can promote just like major companies by wrapping your vehicle with eye-catching graphics. Frog Skin Graphics wraps boats, cars, trucks, and buildings. No job too large or small. Full color banners, window graphics, and signs designed, printed, and installed by professionals. 683-9599.
Good to have you back with us. One more follow-up from our last segment. We want to remind you as you call, if you don't want to give your name and you don't want to give anything else, just use Crime Stoppers, and then you don't have to give any of your pertinent information about yourself, but you can give us the information about the crime and possibly receive a cash award from the Crime Stoppers. So remember that, to call the Crime Stoppers if you want to give us some tips and you're not interested in giving your name and all that other information. We need your help to solve these crimes. My final guest today is a longtime friend of mine, Assistant Chief Randall Dunaway. Chief Dunaway is my right hand. He is the guy that makes sure that everything gets done every day in the Baker Police Department. If I tried to tell you what his responsibilities are, we would need much more than this 30-minute show. He basically oversees every single operation in the police department, and I'm extremely, extremely blessed to have such a great partner as an assistant chief. Chief Dunaway, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came about to become a Baker police officer.
Thanks, Chief Knaps. First of all, let me thank you for the comments. I started in the reserve program in 1981. I've grown up in Baker, married Judy Fontenot from Baker, been married for over 30 years. We have 3 sons, all 3 in public safety. It's been a pleasure to grow with the community within the department, and we have moved tremendously in the right direction in my time in this department.
Yeah, and I tell you that Chief Dunaway and I were partners back in the 80s, and we used to ride these streets hard, and we had a lot of time because things were a lot slower in the city of Baker back in the 80s than they are now. And in the middle of the night, we would have dreams about what we would like to see happen in this department and how we could do things better and what could assist us to do it. When we first came into the police department, there were no computers, there were no portable radios or anything like that, and everything was on paper and handwritten, and a lot of times you were by yourself. We've become so modern today, and one of the most important promises that we made to each other was we knew at some point we would advance up the ladder. Not that we ever thought that we may be the chief and assistant chief, but we knew that we would advance up into leadership, and we always wanted to do, our promise was to do everything we could to make the department better. So Chief, kind of talk about the equipment that we patrol with and did our job with in comparison to what the officers use now.
We started out with an ink pen and a pad, and that ink pen was your tool, and you hand wrote all your reports. Today we have computers in every car. We have a camera system in every car. We've moved from handwriting citations to modern technology where it's written on a computer, and immediately upon the completion of that citation, it's back at the office. And it's really moved us forward with technology. We have virtualized all our servers, and we've been allowed to do this with your leadership in the city and the money that's been put toward this technology. We have actually progressed to a point to where I didn't think I would see that in my career here, but we have really moved forward.
And I appreciate all your work in that. We've gone so far that we have license plate readers on cars. We have a low jack system in some of our cars. These are all things that gather information for us and let us know if a stolen car has certain things in the car, it can send a signal out to a low jack, and we have 2 units that patrol with that daily. We have another unit that has a license plate reader that can ride subdivisions, ride parking lots, and pick up those things. We're tremendously advanced. Chief, I would say that we're equally as equipped per unit as well as any department in the country.
Absolutely. An officer does not have to leave his unit. Everything he can do is in his unit, from writing his reports. It's a blessing to have the technology we have today.
I remember when we used to go on a call, and a lot of times it would just be 2 of us working, and we would get out of our car, and you were just at that point on your own. There were no portable radios. We didn't have anything like that. So when you left your unit, it was you and whatever you were involved in until the next guy got there. And I remember when I started as a communications officer, that quiet time on the radio, waiting to make sure that officer was safe and everything was good. We've come so far in technology now that not only do we have the portables, we're so advanced that just with a touch of a button on the portable radio, an officer can send out and declare an emergency signal that will help us out a bunch. Let's talk about the Criminal Records Division. You oversee that for me, and how we've advanced there, and how that operates for a person that just wants to come in and get a police report, something that simple.
Yes, we have 2 nice ladies that will be welcoming you at the window when you come for a report. It's moved to a point to where it's all computerized. All our reports are in RMS system, as well as any paperwork that has to be handwritten is scanned into a scanning system. It reduces the number of files that we have within a folder room area, and it has really helped tremendously in searching for records.
We want to remind you that when you come to get a police report, if it's an accident report, you're going to get everything there. If you come for a report that involves a crime, by law, we can only give you certain parts of that report. So don't be discouraged if you come and you don't see 100% of everything that took place. We'll be happy to explain to you when you come what you can get and what you can't get. But Chief Dunaway, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your partnership and your support and everything you do for me and these great citizens of Baker every day. It's an honor to have such a dedicated, positive, proactive assistant chief for the Baker Police Department.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure.
Well, citizens, we want you to know that you're in good hands here in Baker, and we look forward to continuing to serve you. Make sure you get back with us for our next show. We'll have some more interesting guests and some more interesting things, and we look very forward to seeing you again in the future. Merry Christmas.